From the City of Angels, arising from the murky depths of the West Coast to disseminate intellectual anarchy, comes the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. So hold on to your hats and glasses, because this is the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
What's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast. I am your host, James Salazar, aka The Media. So, I've been out for a week. I pinched a nerve in my back. Been dealing with it for almost like 3 weeks now. We're in our third week of dealing with this back. First week, I tried to suck it up. Wasn't happening. Wasn't getting better. Pinched nerve. I was miserable. Wasn't sleeping. Go to the doctors. They give me naproxen, which is 500 milligrams, and a 500 milligrams of a muscle relaxer. Didn't do shit for me. No good. No dice. Suffered through the weekend. Got it like on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. By the time I got to Friday, I knew this wasn't going to cut it. But my sister-in-law gave me like enough 800 milligrams of ibuprofen to get through the weekend. So I used that and came in today, Monday. I went back to the doctors, and the 800 milligrams was barely enough just to do anything. So they gave me another 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, 500 milligrams of Tylenol, and a muscle relaxer for at night that makes me drowsy. So we're going to hope that actually makes me feel better. Gave me some physical therapy ideas to keep on doing. It's really been a task on my diet. I have to take food with the medicine, so no intermittent fasting. And I tried to do it the first 3 days with ketogenic diet, but just having straight meat in my stomach made my stomach way too acidic, so I had to eat. And definitely there was moments in there where I ate terribly because I was depressed, in pain, and I had to have some amount of pleasure somewhere. So no excuses. I just said, screw this. I need to have something nice while I'm in pain, and I'm gonna enjoy what I eat. And I did. I know I gained weight. So, but I'm anxious. I'm anxious to feel better. I'm anxious to get back on it, get on the diet again. I'm anxious to start building my body up again because I've neglected my body for the last 6 months. It's been a lot of turmoil for me, and not so much turmoil. I really don't feel like unshaken in my life, but it's been hard to get hold of some consistency, and consistency is important in all kinds of, when it comes to success in anything. Moving out of my old apartment to this better apartment, to find out that better apartment had some issues and we had to get out because the city condemned it. Now we're looking to get back in. So it's been crazy 3 to 4 months. And I wasn't really working out about like 2 months before that, which encouraged me about almost 2.5 months ago to get on this diet that I wanted to do in front of everybody at the live podcast, and doing it with Lou Talavera. We're doing a weight off. Who can get the most weight off by the time October 13th, my birthday. So I'm still anxious to get that. I know I'm going to have to work twice as hard because of how much 2 months. I've lost 2 months in this battle. And but I'm anxious to get started. So that's what's been going on with me this week, about last 3 weeks. Game of Thrones, huh? I called it. If you watched the last podcast, I told you she was going to go ape shit, and she did. She went insane. She went certifiable. She got pissed off. And they started to kill everybody. She went straight Hitler on a dragon. Hitler on a dragon. If Hitler was on a dragon, that's how it would look like. She went ass crazy because Jon Snow wouldn't give up the big D because he won't screw his aunt. He should have just took one with the team if that was the result. He didn't know that was going to be a result, but part of it his fault. He found the nerve to have sex with her once. He can do it again. It's not like she's ugly. She's pretty hot. She can kill dragons. She's a ride or die. Biatch. She'll stick with you as long as you stick with her. So, I don't know. She went crazy. And they stopped showing her face after that one time where she was sitting on that perch of the wall at King's Landing, and she's looking at the castle her family made. That kingdom made by her family that they all stole from her. At least that's what she thinks. But it was her father who went ape shit too. Obviously, it's genetic, and she's just looking at it with angry eyes and certifiable face, and she just takes off and starts burning everyone. They don't show her face after that. I bet she has some mad crazy face. They should have shown her face like, yes, you all die. I don't know. We don't know how she was looking, but from up there, she just kept on going and going and going and going. She burned the whole shit down. The whole shit down. I know people are upset that Cersei didn't die like getting eaten by a dragon or burned on fire. But she died in her hands of the love story. The incestual love story. She ended up dying with her brother. Man, he would do anything for her. He truly, truly loved her and was willing to die together in each other's arms. Could have stayed with, Brain of Tar. But it is what it is. It is what it is. They were twin brothers and sisters. They got closer than any twin brother and sister can get close. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4 babies with your brother. Yeah, you're in love. And he was a ride or die type of guy. He would do anything for her. So, yeah. Let me give you my predictions of what I think is going to happen, okay? Here's my first prediction. My most outrageous, but what I think is going to happen. She's going to get possessive of Jon Snow. She's going to test, so I am your queen, right? You said I'm your queen, right? Right? He's going to want to go back to Winterfell because he's not feeling her anymore because she's a crazy bitch. And she's going to destroy Winterfell with Sansa in it. She's going to imprison Jon. Jon's not going to be able to do anything at the very end of this all. And I think Tyrion Lannister is going to kill the Mother of Dragons. And I think either Tyrion Lannister or Arya Stark is going to be king. Possibly Jon Snow. But I think there's 3 possibilities with Jon Snow. Number 1, he becomes king, which I think is less likely to happen. Because we think it's going to happen. Therefore, it's probably not going to happen. Number 2, he's going to go live with the wildlings because they're more kindred to him now. And now that Winterfell is gone, it doesn't exist. Or, once Daenerys is killed and Sansa or Tyrion takes the crown, he will die like Melisandre. His purpose for being returned back to life has been fulfilled, and he will fade away in some way that would be all, oh, sad. Jon Snow goes poof away because he should have died on that night of the knives that betrayed him at the wall. So that's my predictions for the Game of Thrones. Now let's get into futurism. Now I want to read you this article stood out to me last week, and I posted it on my Twitter. I least a comment about it. It says, "Head in the clouds. Scientists predict Internet of Thoughts within decades. A human brain cloud interface will give people instant access to vast knowledge and computing power through thought alone, predicts experts. Imagine a future technology that would provide instant access to the world's knowledge and artificial intelligences simply by thinking about a specific topic or question. Communication, education, work, and the world we know will be transformed." The concept was initially proposed by futurist and author, inventor Ray Kurzweil, who suggested that the neural nanobots, brainchild of Robert Fertitas Jr., senior author of research, would be used to connect the neocortex of the human brain to the sympathetic neocortex in the cloud, or synthetic neocortex into the cloud. Our wrinkle neocortex is the newest, smartest, conscious part of the brain. Fertitas makes this quote, which is now a quote: "These devices would navigate the human vasculature, cross the blood-brain barrier, and precisely auto-position themselves, or even within the brain cells. It would then wirelessly transmit and encoded information to and from a cloud-based supercomputer network for real-time brain state monitoring and data extraction. This cortex in the cloud would allow matrix-style downloading of information to the brain," the group claims. So there you go, my friends. Now, I've been really into nanotechnology since Star Trek Voyager. Star Trek Voyager is about a ship that goes 75,000 light years into a different part of our galaxy that is inhabited by the Borg. And the Borg is a mechanical and biological race, and they take other people's technology and they take other people's humans and turn them into drones and have them serve the Borg collective, and they become drones. And the way they do that is they beam down to your Earth, they grab you, they stick their tentacles into you, and they put in nanobots that start changing your DNA, starts rewiring your brain, and immediately starts creating mechanical pieces inside your body that ultimately take over your will and it starts taking over your free will, and you become a drone, and then you go on to another place and you assimilate their technology, and you assimilate their people, and you turn them into drones with nanotechnology. And then one time, the hot chick in the show that they're going to put in, called 7 of 9, her collective she was the 7th of 9 drones. She comes into the show and she starts to gain back her humanity, but she has tons of nanobites, and they use all these different storylines. They start using these nanobots to be a part of so many storylines, and how they could heal, how they could transfer information. Once they put her in the show, they kept on using her nanobots to get themselves out of sticky situations. And I've always thought they were fascinating, and I always instinctively knew that this day was going to come, that something like that is going to happen in the near future. Now, what they're saying now is this is way before the world of Star Trek. They're talking about right now instant access. Having a robot go into the very cell of your body and relay information to a supercomputer about your health, about your position, probably about what you're thinking. If they're able to download, you're able to access information. The applications for this is limited, with this merger of the biological and the synthetic. Now, some people will be weirded out by this because we still want whatever we want to do, whether you want to go to heaven, whether you want to become be a synthetic life force, or you want to live forever. What we don't want to do is lose ourselves in the process. Lose what makes us us. Because if I turn into a drone, who cares? That's not living. Not to say that this is going to happen. What I am saying is this: that once you implement these certain technologies, and these certain technologies are going to heal diseases. I mean, they're going to go into the cell and kill disease cells, get rid of them, kill the bad cells, or disease cells, or fix them. The applications are really limitless, and that's not even talking about the nanobots that are in your blood system that will clean all the plaque out of your arteries, and you'll never have an aneurysm again. But when something is given, something is taken away. And as we boldly go forward into this new society, this futuristic society, we're going to have such access to information technology and health that the human has never thought of in any TV show. Well, maybe some TV shows, some books. Yeah, they probably thought about it already. I already thought about it. I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to get to you is that it's going to be astonishing what's going to happen. And it's going to happen exponentially. Because once it starts getting going, it's almost impossible to stop. And there is, just to keep healthcare, if we can make these nanobots efficient and cheap, then everybody's going to have nanobots in their blood just to save on healthcare. Heart attack and high cholesterol and high triglycerides will be something as silly as the measles. Still having the measles. It's going to be done away with. And they're talking about a couple of decades, 2 decades, 20 years. We're going to be able to have nanotechnology not only in our blood system but in our cells, and we can say, where did Abraham Lincoln live? Well, what's his story between 10 and 20? And we will get that information immediately and understand it and comprehend it. Just like the Matrix. We all seen the Matrix, right? The Matrix, the guy downloads information about Kung Fu, right? He says, I want to learn Kung Fu. And they type it in, download it into the brain, boom. He knows how to do Kung Fu, and they have this great Kung Fu fight. Very cool. Way before its time, the Matrix. If it came out, it would be still a little bit before its time. So it's amazing, my friends. I read this, and these are people, experts in the field. They're saying this is 2 decades away. Them injecting you, and these nanobots, little robots, auto-position themselves in your cells, or around your cells, or in your blood. And the applications of it for knowledge transfer and communication. I mean, we're going to be able to talk to each other without any eyepiece, without any, nothing in our hands. We're going to be accessed with information immediately. I talked about that perfect capitalism, the Michio Kaku. I hope I'm saying it right. Good. He talks about perfect capitalism, that we're going to be able to have some kind of contacts that will tell us everything that we need to know. We'll go up to this trash can to say, this trash can is this much, and this is where it's cheaper, and this is what it's made out of. Here's the hazardous concerns about it. Here's where it came from, and here's the company, the mining, and here's the guy who packaged it. Perfect capitalism. No one's going to be able to be fooled anymore. The wheeling and dealing and shystering is going to be done away with. And then people are going to always have to have good product, or just be upfront and candid about their second-rate product that might be cheaper. There will be no hiding. There will be no underhanding or double dealing. I'm pretty sure people will try to find a way, for sure. But it'll make it that much harder that the sophisticated thief will be the only one left. The stupid thief, the street thief, it's going to be literally impossible for them to make money in this new perfect capitalism. And you can see the services. I mean, I'm sitting right now and I'm looking at this pizza company called Amor Pizza, right? If I had those contacts on, it would tell me all the reviews and what's their best food and how much you're making and how long they take and what kind of cheese they put on and what kind of pepperoni and where do they get it from. I would get all that information. I would be able to make or should I go to the teriyaki place? And the teriyaki place is this, but it has this, but she has a, but they do this and they have lower reviews. I can make this decision really quick. And instead of, hey Siri, food, what's good chicken? None of that. whatever you look, you will see. Subway. We don't need to know about Subway, right? Everybody knows Subway sucks. The worst sandwich in the world. I digress. So let's get into some headlines from Futurism.com. So I just wanted you guys to chew on that. Let me pull up this article. For you. Article 1. Dense bullets of something blasting holes in the Milky Way. Scientists say that something mysterious punched galactic cosmic bullet holes in part of the Milky Way galaxy. Their string of holes in a long stream of stars called GD1 that suggests that some yet undiscovered thing blasted its way through, according to the researchers presented to the American Physics Society last month. Interesting. Unfortunately, the culprit of this celestial shooting seems to have gotten away with it. The crime scene seems to be empty. We can't map to any luminous objects that has been observed. So there's holes in the universe, I guess. Like if someone shot holes into like a target, and we don't know why that is. They're hoping to find out what happened there, but I think the logical idea there might be black holes instead of there's actually holes, because when the idea that there's holes in the galaxy, what's in those holes if they're not black holes? So I guess we're going to have to wait on that. But that's super interesting and super scary. Scientists use CRISPR to make mirror image snails. Nice. So, Japanese scientists positioned a single gene controlled whether a snail would be right or left-handed. Now she or her team have seemingly proved that the theory is correct by using CRISPR to create lefty snails, discovery that could one day help unravel the mysteries of the human biology, I guess. Colleagues details that the use of CRISPR gene editing tool to knock out the LSDIA1 gene in the snail to see if it would cause the creature to hatch with the rare left coiling snail. So they were successful. So that's just another great thing. A gene editing experiment gone successful. China's rover collects first ever sample from under the lunar crust. That's good. U22. That's YUTU and the number 2. U22. The Chinese rover that landed on the far side of the moon earlier this year just examined the first ever sample of the moon's mantle. The samples are believed to have been dug out by a meteorite impact so strong that it crushed through the moon's crust, according to the researchers. So it's got that. They're going to be analyzing it. Hopefully there's no monster race of synthetic goo that they'll bring back and assimilate all life. We hope. Fingers crossed. Tech hub San Francisco, first U.S. city to ban facial recognition. So they don't want to have. So Tuesday, California Metropolis Board of Supervisors, Volume 8-1, voted 8-1 to ban government agencies from using facial recognition tech, despite the fact that none of the agencies currently use the technology. Okay, so don't think about using it. That makes San Francisco the first city in the United States to pass such a ban, and the decision could inspire others to follow suit. Now, I wonder why. Facial recognition systems are designed to identify a person in an image or video by mapping out and analyzing the facial features. Yes, we know this. What that's how they're supposed to work anyways. In reality, the system's often incredibly inaccurate, particularly when attempting to identify women or people of darker tones. Given the dire consequences that could result from an inaccuracies, it's not surprising that many people, even some of those helping develop the systems, have protested their use by law enforcement and government agencies. Now, San Francisco won't have to worry about such systems misidentifying them, and they may not be alone for long. Oakland, California, and Somerville, Mass are currently having a facial recognition ban under construction. I think there's other sources that are motivating this. If you look at these places, they're sanctuary cities, and if you're able to run there, no matter what your crime is, as long as you're not an American, they won't extradite you to the federal agencies. So, but facial recognition, federal agencies don't need cities or state or municipalities permission to go get somebody. So if they can have facial recognition, once it's been confirmed, they'll go get it themselves. So this is a little bit of politics here. The banning. But we'll see what happens. Ted Cruz, we need a space force to defend against space pirates. I hope so. Because if there is space pirates, then there's shit that is valuable that needs to be stolen. And if there's stuff valuable in space that needs to be stolen, then that makes capitalism something that is thriving in this new space, what's the one? I want to pick the right word. This new federation, No. This new trek into our solar system. Yeah, that sounds better. So yeah, obviously there's going to be space pirates, especially if we're pulling out minerals that have not been found, or that are already highly valuable. It's going to be the wild, wild west in space. And once they simplify all these problems at one SpaceX and Blue Origin and NASA and Virgin Galactic, once they start troubleshooting all the problems that only rich men can solve because they're willing to spend the money, those crazy fucks, we will be able to do it at a cheaper and lower cost. And once it is at a cheaper and lower cost to space travel, based on all the advancements given by companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and NASA, and China, and Russia, and all everybody's ventures into space, once capitalism takes over and simplifies the process and gives it to the masses, there will be people who will use it to go out into space and start robbing people. Let them do the hard digging. Let them buy all the robots and the machines that mine these rocks, and then we'll just steal it from them. And we're going to need a police force that's going to be very limited, because there is no land in space, and there could be a lot of wars. But I'm saying, hey, fight those wars in space, leave the Earth out of it. But I'm pretty sure you're going to have some nations that are more shady, rogue nations that will be doing some evil stuff. I can see rogue nations start to put their hand in the cookie jar of piracy, and we'll need a space force. And we should use the space station as a central hub, as like a united nation for corporations and nations of Earth to use as a platform to blast off to other parts of space, to monitor what's going out into space and what is coming into Earth. We should probably build spaceships out there. As you know, you can build a Starship Enterprise on Earth, because the gravity it will just sink into the ground. It's too massive. But in the weightlessness of space, and with 3D printers and robots that have boosters, you can easily push a panel that might be as big as a building into place with robots and just your hand. So that's where capitalism will go. That's where science will go. That's where ingenuity will go in the future. So get excited about that. That's going to happen. It'll probably happen in my lifetime. I'll see the Space Force in my lifetime before I die. I'm hoping to live longer. I'm hoping if I live for the next 20 years, and I'm 47 now, and there'll be 67, there'll be some technologies that will extend my life with quality. It would extend my life down to, up. My body and with medicine, and especially rejuvenating medicines and medicines to prolong your life. At 67, I might be back at 47 what I am now. It's based on new gene editing and new ways to make us young. So I'm betting on that. So stay alive for the next 20, 25 years. You're going to be able to take hold of some medicines that will probably extend our lifetime to 130. 115 was quality. And maybe if you can last that long, maybe we might be at the cusps of downloading our consciousness into a computer and cloning our bodies and dumping that consciousness into a new body. And then we're at more immortality. Let's read some more headlines. And what do we got here? What do we got here? What do we got here? Boom. Here we go. And this is good for everyone who hates humans. American birth rate just fell to a 32-year low. On Wednesday, the National Center of Health Statistics and the Agency of Center for Disease Control and Prevention released a provisional birth rate data for 2018, and based on the research, Americans gave birth to, here we go, 3,788,235 babies in 2018, fewer in the last 32 years. The downward trend isn't a fluke either. It's, in fact, for 10 of the past 11 years, the number of birth rates in the U.S. has fallen, a trend that would spur a radical transformation in the nation's workforce. To maintain a steady population, a nation needs to maintain a replacement rate of 2.1. Especially, that means every person capable of giving birth produces an average of 2.1 babies over the course of their lifetime. The U.S. birth rate has remained below that level most years since 1971, and in 2018 it was a 1.7, a record low. Start having babies. Now, I know many people believe this is a good idea. It's left people to destroy the earth. Actually, this would constitute that when my daughter gets of the age, that all the houses that are available won't be filled. The baby boomer generation is dying off, and we're not going to replace that many people. There's going to be a lot of houses available in about 20 years. You're going to be able to afford a house, simply because there's going to be too much product out there. Too much inventory, because a lot of people are going to die, and some of them should have already died. We have prolonged their life about 20 years, but now some of them on the next 20 years will be getting between 80 and to 100, and you'll see a lot of baby boomers dying off, and then you'll see a lot of houses and places like that needing to be filled. And in America, according to our birth rate, we won't be able to replace that, at least not in this generation. This generation won't be able to replace that loss of life and replace it with new life. So we got to catch 22. A lot of people are going to be dying. We're not making enough babies, so that means houses will be cheaper, food will be cheaper, and that's a morbid way to look at it, but that will be true. So chew on that. SpaceX is about to launch a solar sail inspired by Carl Sagan. After months of delay, an 11-pound spacecraft propelled by a power of sunlight is finally launching aboard Space Falcon X Heavy excuse me, from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. I'm chewing a blah, blah, blah. A shoebox-sized light sail 2 is to result in a 10-year research of engineering by the Planetary Society, and it could provide a way for radical new methods of off-world propulsion that doesn't rely on fuel. Yeah, so the power of the sun on this sail pushes the sail forward, the rays of the sun. It catches the rays of the sun and it pushes it forward. As well, they would attach solar energy panels onto it as well. That it will take a little bit longer, but not really, because there's no inertia in space. It keeps on going and going. It theoretically can go pretty close to the speed of light after many years. I won't tell you how many years but it definitely could be used to go long distance at a high rate of speed. You know, like a Cadillac. You know, we're not talking about like a Tesla that's going to peter out after 250 miles. This is going to keep on going and build up momentum and speed. And there's no pit stops. Probably not. You're probably going to go straight to your destination because it will take a long time to build up to the same speed again. So if check out solar sails, you'll see many reenactments or theoretical ideas about that on YouTube. Just put in solar sails for space travel and you'll get the gist of what it is and the possibilities. But for corporations, for small companies, this is an excellent way to get around our solar system at a low cost. So, yeah. That's happening. Scientists, we will grow babies in artificial wombs in decades. Now, this is going to be a big thing in the future because one of the major fights, and we have a lot of fights going on based on abortion and we're pretty divided because women do not want to be told what to do with their body, but people think that we should have a moral responsibility to the life that is there. And we have this fight. But if once we take babies being born in the womb and being born in and created in some kind of artificial womb, those who don't want a baby are going to left with a real choice for just to go have a quick operation, have that baby taken out, and it'll be no longer their responsibility, and we won't need their womb to raise this baby. It's going to make the pro-life stance stronger as another excuse why not to kill the baby. Because here's the highest form of rhetoric is that you want to take rights from women, and the other side is that you want to just kill babies. And once society comes down clearly, and we're coming to a head with that, comes down clearly on what is. Are we going to say that the life in the stomach is actual human life and it has a certain value? Once we are clear on that, whether it be the first, second, third trimester, whether it might be viable to live, we're going to have another choice where you don't have to put it up for adoption. You don't have to carry it for 9 months. We can go right now into your body and take out that baby, and that's it. The baby will be born in a what do you call it? An artificial womb, and it'll grow. And these people who have to make a rash decision quickly based on a set of morals that might be not as conservative as most, might, after a certain time, want that baby back in this life. And maybe they should have that opportunity to take that life and become its parents. As the baby's growing. Here's the thing. Much like suicide, abortion is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And most people feel compelled, because of where their life is, that they can't handle this decision. So there's one other alternative, that they abort the baby. We're looking 10 years from now, where if the American people decide that this is life, we should have an apparatus where the woman should not have to carry the baby. That she can wipe her hands from the baby and not have her body have to carry it. And she should no longer be responsible for that life if she doesn't want it. If we're going to keep her from killing it. Now, I believe it's a life, and I believe it should live, but I do acknowledge it's a fucked up idea that once we do that, what happens to the baby? She's with a mother that doesn't love her, that didn't want her, that sees her as a burden. She's probably not going to be the best mother in financial situations. So we should have a system. And I'm going to get into this on my next episode of Something to Believe In. I'm going to tell you why I'm pro-life, but there has to be caveats to it. We have to be fair as Americans. There's something I believe as a religious person. There's something I believe as an American. And we'll get into those. I don't want to get into that on this, but stay tuned for that. But artificial wombs in a decade. And you'll see definitely there's some people that won't want to relinquish that power. There's definitely people who want the right to control a life. Don't get it twisted. There are some people out there. And I'll go explain what you call that. You already know what you call it. It's called slavery. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the next headline. Where are you at? The U.S. military is buying $130 million laser weapon. A team at Lockheed Martin and Dynetics Engineering just won a $130 million contract to provide a 100-kilowatt laser weapon for the U.S. Army. A high-energy laser tactical vehicle demonstrator. The Hela TVD laser system is slated to be tested at the missile range in New Mexico on 2022. The high-energy laser weapon has been a system that the United States has wanted to add into their defense portfolio since the invention of lasers. Pew pew. The system was designed to defend against missiles, rockets, and artillery, according to the Defense News, but also could provide useful against military drones and other unmanned aircraft. The news comes as a luxurious automaker Rolls-Royce unveiled a new hybrid-powered source intended to continuously power a 100-kilowatt laser weapon early this week. According to today's statement, Rolls-Royce will provide the power source for the thermal management system for the Hell TVD. There you go, folks. Star Wars. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew. Look it. We're in the world of lasers. We can shoot down missiles with them. We could definitely shoot through people through them. And once you see a laser, and if it's hitting you, it goes at the speed of light. So that's scary. But if one's pointed at you, by the time you see it, you've already been dead. Okay? You've been dead. You've been blooded. As Style Bender says, MMA fighter. You're going to get blooded. Yeah, but if you have like a sort of mist in the air, you can see where the laser comes from. It looks more like a science fiction movie. But you can see where it comes from for counter sniping ideas. So we're in a brave new world, folks. I know you're sitting there in your old jalopy listening to this podcast, and you say nothing seems very fancy. Because all the rich, it's either the military or the rich that are using all the technologies that will be available to you in 20 years. The Tesla is coming with a 30,000. They have a $30,000 car. Tesla has a $30,000 car that has all the bells and whistles that they're 180. It just doesn't go as far, doesn't have as much room. The battery has a shorter life, and it doesn't look as nice, but it still looks cool for a $30,000 car. Let me tell you something. In 5 more years, Elon Musk's going to come out with a $20,000 car, and that will be it for the rest of the world. The Toyota, Chevy, all these people are going to have to follow suit and be fully electric. I think Volvo or Audi is planning by 2025 to be fully electric car, no gas. Because the market is going that way. Sure, the propaganda and a lot of us being concerned about global warming has helped it, but it is capitalism that brought it about. Capitalism will save the environment, and capitalism will save the earth, not government, not laws. You make it attractive for people to be a part of this green revolution, people will pay to do it, at least in America. So once they're coming out with a semi-truck, and I hope the price is competitive with a brand new regular truck. I mean, no gas. Anybody who's buying a truck right now should hold off. Like a semi-truck or a Class B truck should hold off until Elon Musk comes with an electric, because you'll save money in the long run. So, that's what I think about that. Technologies will be available, so good for the United States of America. We should always be ahead of everybody else, because as long as we are ahead of everybody else, people watch their P's and Q's. And don't act like they don't. They do. The world is lucky. The world is fucking lucky that the most powerful nation on earth is the United States. Because if it was any other country, guess what? They'll be causing a lot of problems. You're lucky that the United States, with our values and our belief systems, is the most powerful nation on earth, and we should keep it that way. We don't want nobody who doesn't have the same values as us to be just as powerful. We don't. Okay, enough of that. Scientists created an organism with an entirely synthetic genome. So, artificial life. Nice. For the first time, scientists have created life with genetic code that was developed from scratch. Created living. The University of Cambridge team created living, producing E. coli bacteria with DNA coded entirely by humans. According, what? Let me see. The University of Cambridge team created living, reproducing E. coli bacteria with a DNA coded entirely by humans. Yes, oh yeah, the creators are humans. I was like, what? As I said, from humans. Sorry. The new bacteria looks a little wonky, but they behave more or less like the same as E. coli. Learning to build the genome from scratch could teach scientists how DNA originally came to be and how can we manipulate it to create life. Now, folks, does that sound like a random universe? I think not. We are now seeing the signature of God in everything we are doing. The next set of life will be designed by humans, because there's a designer code and we are unlocking it. We're going to be able to create like God creates. It's not going to be as good. Maybe after hundreds of years, it might be pretty damn close. But the fact of the matter, they're creating life now. They're creating bacteria from scratch. We are going where no man has gone before. We are unlocking the secrets of the universe. We are showing the signature of God in everything that we attempt to unlock. I don't know what this means. I think that's how the Blob was made. I always have to go a little bit dystopian. But the fact of the matter is, this universe is full of laws and discoveries, and it follows patterns and numbers. There's nothing remotely random about the universe we live in. I mean, everybody's saying right now that we're in a hologram or a program. Yeah, we're in a program created in the mind of God, playing itself out. If there is a being that can create a program that can create a universe like ours, by default, that person's God, isn't it? And everything that is to be known about that universe was created by someone else, so he would be all-knowing about this universe. He would be all-powerful if he created something from our universe. So, yeah, amazing. Amazing. Creating synthetic life. And Tesla releases software update to stop cars from catching fire. Oh, that's nice of them. Whoa, how very thoughtful. Good for them. Good for them. That should make everybody safer. I don't think anybody cared in the first place. And let me see what we have here. And last but not least, from Vox, this is not on Futurism.com. Scientists are grappling with our biggest limitation in spaceflight, our bodies. Human body has evolved for hundreds and thousands of years to thrive on Earth's surface. But what happens when you take such a earthbound body and put it in the weightlessness of space? Things get weird. Astronauts commonly report diminished eyesight upon their return home, possibly because their eyeballs change shape in space, and tissue surrounding the optic nerve becomes swollen. Without a constant tug of gravity, bones become more brittle and muscles atrophy. Now there's a movement to send humans into space further and longer than we've ever been before, subjugating our bodies to even more of this strange environment. The White House has tasked NASA with a mission of returning to the moon by the year 2024. The plan involves permanent lunar gateway, a space station to orbit the moon. Those efforts could lay groundwork for eventually crew mission to Mars, which would place astronauts in space on the red planet for years. Now, there will be. Here's the thing. Genetically altering babies in the womb to be stronger and healthier could be great. But genetically altering humans for space flight may not make them comfortable and healthy on Earth. So if we're going to create a group of people that would thrive in space, their body can adapt to space more better through gene editing, then we might have a group of people who agree to do that with their baby. Make that choice. Making the choice for that baby on what they're going to do. That whatever they're going to do it in space. Make that choice for them. Because maybe having made of denser stuff with thicker muscle and a thicker bones and hardier eyes, maybe Earth's gravity may hurt them and make them feel very uncomfortable. So I can see a world where the United States and governments just like them take babies that were going to be, and this goes back to artificial wombs, taking babies that are going to be adopted, that unwanted babies, growing them to be spacefaring pilots or engineers, and telling them that this is where their life is. It's a moral question for sure. But as we've entered into space, and if our economy is 95% comes from space, and those who are the most wealthiest are the ones who venture out into it, then giving them, genetically altering them to handle space better would be the equivalent of having them going to Harvard. Would give them an advantage, a genetic advantage, financial advantage. And I've always feared, just as much as I fear the dangers of artificial intelligence, is that as we genetically alter humans to be more stronger, more smarter, that those who lived without it, they're going to be two classes of people, one that are genetically altered and one are not. And you'll see the cream that is genetically rising to the top that will have advantages where the economy is moving towards those people, because I believe the economy is moving towards space in the next 50 years. Most of our economy will be a space-varying economy. And this is where capitalism will begin to thrive and will begin to venture out into space. But there's going to be two sets of class of people. Space-bearing people who are genetically altered better, genetically altered people who are on Earth, and then there's people who weren't genetically altered, like me and you. And we're going to become second-class citizens. And when they're second-class citizens, that means upheaval and uproar. And we go back to our base human elements of fighting wars. And another thing I want to talk about is Donald Trump. He wants it to happen in 4 years. So if he wins the presidency, he's going to have people on the moon. And I've always told you, once he gets people on the moon with his administration, that is the first step to the humans being a space-faring race. And there are going to be 3 people who probably going to get the love from that. It's going to be Donald Trump and probably Elon Musk, and maybe just Bezos and all these other people who are late to the game. But once the United States government, the most powerful nation on earth, says we're getting back into the space race and we're going to have a space station, that will open the door for everybody else. And no matter how many crazy tweets he makes, and no matter how much he colluded with Russia, and all these crazy ideas about Donald Trump, what he will be remembered for the next 20 years is that he ignited the second space race. It'll be Kennedy, and then there'll be Donald Trump and Boris Yeltsin, right? The space race between Russia and America propelled technology almost hundreds of years. And when Donald Trump sets a moon base for every other nation to access, this is what he'll be known for. And I think he knows it. This is why they're willing to put so much money into it. Because you got to understand Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not racist. He's not conservative. He's not liberal. He's nothing. He just wants to be remembered as a great man. And if he thought being great would be democratic, he would be a Democrat. He would, because that's his motivation. But right now, Democrats are, everything they're pulling for is stepping on all the traditional values of America. So he's wisely has been on the other side, even though he's been traditionally Democratic. But I say all that to say this: no matter what you think about him, no matter what he's done, once he gets people into space, guess what? Guess what? That's all he's going to be known for. And he's also going to be known for that every president from here on will have to talk to the American people through Twitter about once a week. They don't have to do it like Donald Trump, but he has set the precedence. He set the precedence that this transparent, and the people are gonna expect the presidency to give their opinion about it, and they're not gonna do it with media, and also with his claims of fake media. It's gonna straighten the media up. They're going through the ringer, and for traditionally they've been an opinionated media. Now we're gonna truly, the sources that are straight and above board, not opinionated news, are gonna thrive, and those who are transparent with their political views will thrive. But people who pretend they don't have a political view, they pretend like they're not trying to push a narrative, those people are going to go by the wayside. What American people don't like is not being genuine or being dishonest. Nobody cares if you're liberal, just be honest about it. Nobody cares if you're conservative, just be honest about it. That's what the American people want. Okay, people, that's enough. We did a good hour and more. Follow me on Instagram, the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Pinterest. Just type in James Salazar Media. If you have any questions or any thoughts or any ideas about anything I said, just put it in an email at jamessalazarmedia@gmail.com. Hey, if you're looking for any coaching services, I'm going to coming up with a new matrix and bringing people into a group coaching. Just go there to jamessalazarmedia.com and check that out. And prepare for the next podcast where I tell people why I am pro-life with some caveats. So until then, my friends, when the storms of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Hold your head up high and take a look at that storm and say with my sensei, Jack Burton, always says, Give me your best shot. Strike the music.